Sentire Media.
I hit the button. We're doing it. Thank
right.
you so much. You downloaded the podcast from Italy. My name's Jason. What's your name?
Ciao, I'm Ashley.
That's right. Together we own, operate, work at, and are currently sitting in the sala of La Tavola Marche, a little agriturismo in the foothills of Nowhere Piobico, Italia.
That is true.
So I guess we're starting off, I was told to call this a new season, this podcast, because after, when did we start this?
In 2009.
Okay, so after,
Oh my God.
so after all those years, can't do that math. That's too much math for right now. After all these years and various degrees of consistency, now that we've slowed down to about 4 times a year, Ashley thought it'd be a good idea to join a podcasting network.
Yes. So I'm very excited. We are now part of Sentire Media, and we are going to be putting out at least once a month our podcast. I thought this was a great way for us to try to keep a little more consistency ourselves and be part of a podcast network that is all about promoting and sharing podcasts about Italy. So if you are interested in other podcasts like ours, check them out.
All right. For you, the listener, I think it means nothing. I
agree.
Other than now, I've agreed to do this once a month, so I'm on the hook for that.
The RSS feed changes for the listener. Nothing changes to them.
What does that mean? What's an RSS?
Whatever goes to, that's like the feed that will then...
But if they were downloading on their phone, it's
that's
still
what I was
going to
say. That's what goes to iTunes, and you don't have to worry about it.
The dozens of you out there, it doesn't really, nothing will change.
Except, hopefully, we'll be continuing to do one at least once a month.
Yes. And if you ever hear someone read an advertisement on here, that means we actually have listeners. Which I don't think you have to worry about. Okay, so there's a lot going on. This is a special evening podcast. What is so special about it? Nothing other than we're doing it in the evening.
It's dark.
It's dark outside. It is. I can't even see.
I think it's because we had our vitamins in the evening. It's all that vitamin D.
Normally we do it in the morning because I feel like I have a lot more energy in the morning. I'm a morning person. I'm up usually in the 5 o'clock-ish hour. So by like 6:37, if I want to procrastinate a little bit, then it's like, oh, let's do a podcast, which obviously since we do them 4 times a year hasn't been that much. I've procrastinated in other ways, looking on Facebook Marketplace for things I'll never buy.
Oh my God, that is your favorite.
But I have a lot. We have a lot to talk about.
I know a ton has gone on since the last podcast, which was about 2 weeks ago.
So let's start off. What's going on in Italy? Italy's warm.
It is warm.
We have a big high pressure system coming out of the south. No, it's unseasonably crazy. It was 18 degrees today. We have fruit trees that are starting to bloom. The birds are chirping. It's just weird.
There's like pockets of gnats in the road or like fields when you walk through with the dogs, and you're like, what is going on? So you saw flies again.
Yeah,
it was like
flies are coming out. So it's cold in the morning, like -5 to 7. It wasn't. It was 1 this morning, so it wasn't that bad. But by noon, it's 15, 17, 18 degrees, and it's just
that is no lie.
It's kind of weird.
Well, so we mentioned last time that we got a weather station, since we're talking weather.
Ooh.
And we are all dialed in on Weather Underground, which is wunderground.com.
Oh, you don't know about Weather Underground? Weather Underground is the largest collection of PWSs in
oh my God, you're
in the
such
world.
A nerd. Is this true? What is PWSs? Private weather station?
Personal weather station.
It actually is kind of cool.
So if you're into weather a little bit, I'm a weather nerd. I like it. This Weather Underground has a lot of local people who have local weather stations, and they're updated live. And if you want, go onto the
especially
site.
for rural areas like us, where our weather, when you actually look, is coming out of like Rimini or
it's coming out
on the coast, an hour and a half away. Where it's like that is not what's going on here.
So if you go to the site and at the top where you can search like the stations or anything out, we are the letter I, Santa 1503, I Santa 1503, all caps, no space. And that is the code for our station. Ashley's going to put a widget up on
I'll end up putting a widget on the website, but you guys can check it out if you're interested in live weather from La Tavola Marche.
No picture. I don't want you. I'm not into Big Brother. No, we don't need a live weather cam. Like a camera to go along with the thing.
That's weird.
Plus, you never know what you're going to see.
No. like you said, the weather, you pee outside a lot.
Oh my God. I got stung by a bee in the nuts the other day. I pee outside because I live in the rural, like, that's my right. I live where it's rural.
That's my right.
All the animals get to. Anyway, I don't know if it was on my shirt or on my pants or it just flew onto it. It was the oddest feeling. I've never been stung.
And in the winter.
In the winter? I've never been stung where my swimsuit covers. You know?
Came running to the house going, what? This is so weird.
I was more, it didn't hurt. I was more like freaked out. Like, oh my God.
You're like in shock. It was so funny.
Anyway, good times.
Fun times. Great way to start the pod. So what else is really going on? Carnevale.
Carnevale just came through.
Had Fat Tuesday.
We saw the kids
Ash Wednesday.
in Piobico all dressed up coming out. We saw for the first time ever, one of the little boys was dressed up as an American football player.
He had a football with him too.
And a real football, like American football jersey. I don't know what it said.
Something to like puff up his shoulders. It was kind of cute. And it was like, oh my God, there's a football player.
I was going to go.
A whole group of young kids dressed as old men. At first, we thought it was a group of oldies.
We thought they were all down by the river, but they were all dressed as old mushroom hunter guys.
Like dapper old men. It was really funny.
And Ashley's like, what are those kids doing? I'm like, no, it's
a bunch of old guys and like a family or something. And then they're up on the road and it was like, wait, what? So I don't know what they were doing, but it was kind of funny.
But Valentine's Day is come and gone. The Carnevale is come and gone. Oh, let's talk about Carnevale Dolce.
So the main one that I like that we do sometimes is castagnole.
Castagnole look like a lump of old-fashioned donut almost.
Yeah.
And then you can either dress them in two ways. They're always fried in lard, and then you can dress it with sugar and a liquor called alchemis, which is some kind of bug mushed up.
What?
It's a red bug. Look it up.
What?
I think alchemis derives from some beetle or bug or something like that. Anyway, or you can put honey on them. No, you didn't spell that right at all.
Oh, okay. Whatever. No information on this podcast. Continue. I don't have time for this.
And those are good if you get them hot out of the oil and you're eating them. They are good. You can also find them castagnole more like the French choux, where they're or cream puffs, and they'll be hollow on the inside and filled with cream. Not as good.
Gaji loves those.
Gaji loves them. But I've never made them, and when you get them from the shops, the cream's always been sitting in there.
Didn't you make them, or you just made the regular castagnole?
I only have made the regular castagnole.
Okay.
We have other everything's kind of fried dough, derivatives of fried dough.
There's ones that you'll see all over that are like flat pieces of dough that are fried, that are kind of ribbon cut, and they're called chiacchiere, and they're just either covered with some sprinkles or powdered sugar.
So I've seen sometimes now they're dipped in one half in chocolate.
Okay.
Not great.
No, in fact, this is going to sound really cheesy, but I grew up in Seattle, and we had taco time, and they had something called crustos, which were fried dough, but covered in cinnamon and sugar, and those were so good. So
this is not that.
This is not that. I don't know why. They're kind of just dry and like, eh.
Now, again, I'm sure if you had them at someone's house and they came right out of the oil and they were made that day, we're talking about when you get them in the shops. They're not great. And then the one you see everywhere are
Strufoli?
Well, strufoli is what they call it in the South. We call them
Cicerchiata.
I could never say that word.
I know.
Basically, they're little tiny balls of fried dough that are kind of held together with honey. And you kind of cut almost think of they come out looking like squares, like Rice Krispie treats almost when they
Here, then if you look it up, a lot of times they'll be done in like a circle shape or like a ring shape, I should say. But
all of this stuff is we just came out of Christmas. We don't need any more of this junk. Besides, the Easter's coming up, and Easter Dolce are much better. No,
that is true. That is true.
All right.
Speaking of grocery stores and what you see at the shops, we've had a hard time finding any vegetables this winter.
Yeah. No, well, not this winter in general.
True.
But there's been, if you turn on the news for Europe, a lot of the agriculture is protesting all through Europe. They're doing it all through Holland and all
France.
through Belgium, France,
Germany, Italy.
And they had strikes. And I walk into the fruit and vegetable shop the other day. There was nothing. There was like some apples and some bananas.
Whatever was like left over.
Yeah, there was a little bit of stuff from local, but it's the middle of winter. There's nothing there. So, I don't want to talk about politics, but a lot going on in agriculture in Europe.
Yeah,
Go check it out and
do a little research.
Do a little research, and it's really interesting depending on what news outlet you read, how it's interpreted, and you kind of have to read them all to get the whole story. Anyway,
not seeing the same.
No, fruit and vegetables are expensive these days.
So, following up from the last podcast, I think you have something exciting to announce.
Oh, that I passed my driver's test?
Yes.
After 15 years of studying.
Drum roll, 15 years.
Passed it on the first try.
I said, don't be so proud of yourself. That was 15 years of studying.
So real quick, we got to go to Pesaro. So you meet at 7:30 in the morning at the driving school, and you go in a big van together. It was uneventful, other than...
How many people were in your van?
There were 6 of us plus the driver, 7 of us. So other than before we really got on the road and started driving to Pesaro, he had to stop and get gas and hit up the mechanic, and the hood was raised. I don't know what they did. He jumps out. None of this was communicated like, oh, I got to do this real quick. He just pulls over, goes down to the mechanic. He shuts off the engine, hops out. The mechanic comes over. They lift the hood, fiddle for 5 minutes, do
was
some
this
stuff.
part of his plan on the drive, and had you guys arrive early to do that? That was like one of his stops, or a little light flicked on and he's got to pull over?
Or it's like, we're not making it to Pesaro unless I go and do whatever it is. I was, as soon as we pulled over and the hood went up, I just was like, I just kept doing my little phone practice tests. Other than the fact that the guy who takes you from the driving school broke every driving... We're passing.
That's right.
He's passing W. Like, I just thought that was comical that he was breaking all the traffic laws.
Passing
on the
double...
yellow line.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Speeding. It's great. Anyway, going there, one thing that's really, really interesting is... getting your driver's license means facial recognition. So you give them your photo that they attach to your application, and then they scan that when this was all done by the driving school. They scan that form and whatever before you get to the let's call it the motor vehicle, DMV, whatever. Then they line you up alphabetically, and before you walk into the waiting area, so we're all outside in the cold. It was freezing. They don't care. You just stand outside there and wait. And as you walk in alphabetically, and you have to sit in, go sit in seat number 1, go sit in seat number 2. Okay. You go through this hardcore, like, face scanner thing. And then you go sit down. Then when you go to your terminal, because it's all computers, you go to your terminal and they tell you exactly where to sit. You then, again, have to put your face in the little oval on the screen to let them scan your face in. Then, as I'm doing my test, I put my elbow on the table and kind of put my palm of my head on my forehead, and I'm just kind of like going through the answers. Computer freaks out. Screen goes black. Put your face back in the... So there's a camera on you the whole time. So if you're looking to stay under the radar and not get into Big Brother's little facial recognition, do not get your license.
Oh, my God.
My fat face is all over the place there. Anyway, passed it. No big deal.
Wait, the guy giving the test was a piece of work.
The guy giving the test was a real ball buster.
Tell him about, the people getting...
So, I love it how you have to sign a million things. Thank you for reminding me about this. I love it how you have to sign a million things about your privacy, all this crap about privacy here. Anyway, when the test is done, it's all computerized. He couldn't figure out how to get the answers. Then the guy from IT comes down.
How did he?
I don't know.
Oh,
then he calls off 4 names. These 4 names come to the front of the class, and he looks at them all and goes, "Bruciati, burn." You didn't pass. And then he looks at us and goes, "The rest of you pass." And it was like, oh my God. He just
Public execution.
I was like, Jesus. You could have just like excused them or something. I don't know. It was just kind of funny. There's 4 people at the front, or 8 people or something, whatever it was.
Oh my God.
So that kind of made me laugh, and I was like, "Oh, thank God I passed."
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
But I have to still do the road test, and that's on the 4th of March. And I talked to the auto school guy. We'll do a couple of practices to know what to expect, and it's in the bag.
It's coming right along.
Yeah.
So it was a busy week. You got your drivers.
Another fun fact. The car that we own, since it's over 100 horsepower, I am not technically allowed to drive it for the first 3 years. Because I'm a new neopotente.
Oh, my God. So you got your driving test, and then 2 days later, we slaughtered the first pig.
Oh, yeah, we slaughtered pig number 1. It was a lot of work.
So let's start at the beginning. He was 218 kilos.
What is that real quick in pounds? 218? It's a big pig, man. It was too big of an animal. Once we got him dead, it was
about 480 pounds.
It was a lot. It felt like it. Once we got him dead, then we strung him up with the tractor and put him on
did,
cart.
the boiling water.
Yeah, we put him on. So I thought we were going to dip him in the boiling water, and then it was like, well, how's that going to work? Because you're putting this giant pig in a giant. No, we boiled the water, and then he had these really cool old pitchers, porcelain chips in them, and everything. Mm-hmm. And you pour the water over the pig and scrape, and it's to get off the first layer of skin and the hair. So, you know, one person kind of slowly pours the boiling water real close, like not up high, real close to the skin. You scrape, and it comes off pretty easily. Then we, once he's all clean, and here's what I didn't know, even though our pigs were dark, once you scrape off their skin, I guess once you scrape off the first layer of skin, they're all pink.
There you go.
So he was all clean and pink and boiled, and then they take a torch and really quickly, you know, anything that isn't there, and I think probably just kind of sanitize it one more time with heat, kind of thing, and then
you start splicing it.
You bring them up with the tractor and have
so
them
the neighbor.
So if you're not into this, skip ahead 5 minutes. It's not. I'll go over it quick.
Gross. But so the neighbor was the assassin, is what the other neighbors kept calling him.
And he had all the tools. He had this cart. He had this homemade, because he works for a company here in Piobico that makes big stainless steel tanks for like the wine industry. So he had this stainless steel contraption that worked perfectly, where you attach it to the tractor and lift it up, and then you extend the arms and it splays the pig in the perfect, the perfect way.
Because as we mentioned in the last podcast, he is not a farmer. I mean, he does some.
He's done this. His family's killed pigs over the winter. He's not a pig farmer, but his family's been killing pigs his entire life, 1 or 2.
You could tell also when he was butchering it open, like that he did a really good job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you make an incision at the pig is head down, legs up, and you make an incision, and then he puts his hand into the inside, into the cavity, and has the knife on the outside to ensure that as he's cutting down slowly, he makes sure to move the intestines away, because if you nick the intestines, it lets the bile out, and it ruins the whole thing. So really, really slow. Once he was kind of open, it kind of came out in one big and then we kind of put
intestines. And all that stuff,
we put that into a bin, and then you have like all the organs. The organs can come out in one kind of sack. Yeah, like a sack,
almost like a bundle of of bananas or something where it's all kind of connected.
And then you string that, we strung that up to the side. And then from there, he took basically a cleaver and started at the tail and right down the spine with a cleaver, which was, he had this, we'll call it a cleaver. It was a giant, heavy, giant knife that he welded I would say square, like a small square of stainless steel on. So when you hit it with so you don't have to hack at it. You just put the knife in and hit it with a mallet, and that would drive the knife down. So it was a nice, clean cut instead of,
which is more fatiguing and all that when you're just banging away.
So it was pretty fatiguing. So then it's in half. Now we're basically there. And then it was too heavy. Normally you would take each half, throw it on your shoulder and walk and
like a continental soldier.
Yeah, and then we'd kind of walk it out. But this guy was way too heavy, so we had to quarter him. And then from there, I took it to the butcher, and he hung in the fridge for 2 days. This was a Saturday, so I came Monday. From there, the butcher kind of got it into pieces that were more manageable. So here's the whole, here's the prosciutto. Okay.
So you guys cleaned it all up.
But
broke it into big pieces.
But it's still not, all broken down. So then you come home and you have to make the pork chops and debone the shoulders and do the amount of lard fat.
Jason walked in from the butcher because now then he's really like in it, and was like, the first thing he said was, "We need to buy a fry, Daddy." He said it is 4 fingers, the fat on the back, and he's got sausage fingers, and it's like, oh my God, and he was not lying.
So you can make 2 different types of. There's lard and there's strutto. Strutto is what you would boil. That primarily comes from, anything can become strutto, but only lardo can become lardo. What do I mean by that? Lardo comes primarily from the back fat, and it's that thick, like striated, compact, like not from the belly, because the belly, like bacon, is more loose. This comes from the top, and it comes like a chunk out. And you can have those 2 strips off the back. Now, you can always boil that down and make strutto. Strutto is rendered fat that is white, has no flavor, no smell. Lard, if you just use it, will smell like pig. So I took the lard from the back and put it under salt for curing, and then, most of it, and then what I just couldn't deal with anymore, it all went to strutto, and we boiled it. And then from there, when you boil it, the little pieces of meat that are still kind of like inside some of the fat and all that come to the top, and then you strain those out and you press them, and they're called ciccioli, little fatty pieces that are it's like a little bit of the cracklins, but it's not the skin.
Yeah,
we didn't do that. It's not the skin; it's the little pieces of meat that are through it.
You'll make yourself sick.
Those will make you very
delicious,
sick.
But they also made rice. I was like, "This is the best rice you've ever made." A little scoop of that in there. We had to get rid of it.
We had to get rid of it. Plus, I didn't have a proper press. You have to really press them out when they're just come out of the oil, because otherwise they get greasy. And when they're done right, they're phenomenal. Carlo and Gija, where we got the pigs, he had a homemade press that he just pours the oil through, and then it's like a screw down thing, and it presses the crap out of them.
It's incredible.
I had 2 cutting boards and some vices,
and like what was the fabric?
Just like
old linen, like heavy duty linen cloth.
It was okay, but they were greasy. It was like, we got to get these out of here.
But it was so nice to have the help from all of our neighbors. For any of the guests who have been out here, when you drive along our road, basically, if you lived along our road, you were here to help us. From the shooting range guy, who was hilarious and great, to the guy with the goats and missing teeth, who's always super sweet. And then a German couple who have moved to the area, they came to help. So it was really nice. And also, it was one of the few things we've ever done that's like a big scale project where everyone was out of here.
It was like 2.5 hours.
It was like 2.5 hours. I was like,
and that was including having breakfast after.
I was surprised, but then everyone had stuff to do, and I was like, all right, great.
And, those of you who think, how are you able to, were you able to, How do you feel?
Emotionally,
can you eat? Yeah, I've been eating this pig all. Like we had to take a break today. But he's delicious.
He's delicious.
I feel I'm over it. Kind of like okay, it went smoothly. No one suffered. I don't think I'm going to do pigs again this year. If we do pigs, it will be a smaller breed, like size-wise. I'm kind of overwhelmed with the amount of
oh my gosh.
everything.
So you just stopped with the fat. So you then took also big pieces up to Acquapartita, to Martinelli's, to cure at the Hunter's Hideaway.
Both of the back legs, both of the prosciuttos went there. The lonzo, the loin towards the shoulder, and the 2 cheeks went up there. So a good portion of all the good bits went up there. And
then you made sausages.
And then we made sausages. We put the lard under salt. We did the rendered fat. What else did we make? I feel like we made one more thing.
I never had felt so country. We've done a lot of country stuff and had chickens that we slaughter with the guests and they're hanging from the tree in the front yard. But there was something that was like weirdly country comforting when I opened the fridge and everything had been removed except like this top rack. And Jason had hung all the like tube sacks.
The bags
of
rendered fat.
And you just see all this strudel in the fridge. And it was like, oh.
So we were supposed to slaughter the other one the next weekend, and I called everyone and said no.
Well, then the weather said it was going to rain.
It rained a little, but
it didn't rain.
Yeah.
But there was so much.
I just needed a break. I couldn't do it back to back.
Hello. We killed the pig on Saturday. You were processing meat for days. Monday, we get a call that the dog meat is ready for Leroy. So that's another 200 kilos of meat that we started to have to break up, grind up.
So for our giant dog, we do the raw diet thing because it's cheaper and better. It's not easier. It's just ends up being cheap. This dog is huge, so he would eat sacks of food and
Christmas vacation stuff.
Oh my god, totally. Snot, sit. But it just came at once. So that was another 200 kilos of meat that I had to put through the grinder, put into vacuum seal bags.
So we blew out the vacuum sealer.
Vacuum seal machine broke.
Okay, Gaji was so upset. This was hilarious. So we got a new vacuum sealer, and we finally got one that was a little bit more professional.
No,
semi-pro?
Continuous use.
Yes.
So the vacuum seal machine we had before was fine for your house if you're zipping up 1, 2, 3 bags. But when you do 250 bags in a row, it blew the machine out. So finally, after all these years, got more of a professional machine. Gachi sees the old one. I threw it across the yard because I was outside doing all the meat. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I had 30 bags left to do, and the thing just craps out of me. I was like, threw it. Ordered a new one. He's like, why is the vacuum seal machine outside? I'm like, oh, I blew it up. It's, God damn, you don't treat your things I'm like, God, we've had that 10 years. We do thousands of bags a year, from the vegetables to the sausages to the cheeses that we do. I'm like, I got my use out of that. Tiny, that was just...
if you stored it properly. Yeah. He was saying it was like, oh my God.
All right, so speaking of Gaji...
oh, wait, you're jumping... Wait.
Oh, am I jumping ahead?
What were you going to say?
I have no idea. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I felt like there was more about the pig. Oh, so then also we decided to wait because we need to buy another freezer.
Yeah, my freezer's...
You don't have anywhere to put any of this next pig.
I got a full freezer. I did not anticipate the amount of work for one person. The whole raising the pig, I researched and did. That was not a problem. I had my act together for that. But this last one, the killing, the slaughtering, and the butchering of the.
But even though you've butchered pigs before.
Yes, we've butchered pigs, but we leave the pig there and go home.
Exactly. So to realize the sheer amount that is,
and their pigs are
yields.
A lot smaller. Like it was just a lot of everything. So I just said no, can't do it. Then all the old guys won't kill the pigs out of the correct moon phase.
Exactly.
So you need a moon that is waning, getting smaller after the full moon, getting smaller. Waning, waxing,
whatever it is.
You have to wait till then.
We have to wait.
You have to wait till then. So it was
Thankfully, the second pig, we were afraid he was going to get like depression or be super sad.
No,
he's thriving.
He's thriving.
We realized Big Boy that we slaughtered number one. Maybe he was a bully.
Maybe he bullied the smaller one.
Yeah,
because the smaller one is happy as a pig and shit. He comes up, eats every day. I scratch him. He does it the same spots during the, he has a spots during the day.
Comes up and nose boops the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs play with him. So he's quite content with his friend being gone. Little does he know. So we're going to probably do that this weekend. I'm hoping the weather looks good, and I need to get down there and do stuff. I'm done with these pigs. In
the midst of all of the meat, we were invited to the hunter's lunch.
So every year, the squad of boar hunters, Cinghiale hunters, they throw a end of the season
They do a kickoff
party.
And then the end.
Yep.
So kickoff is like in September, October, depending on the weather and stuff. And then now this was just a week or two ago.
So their clubhouse is really cool. Their clubhouse is basically just a whole a giant room with a hole in one end and a sloped floor
and a fireplace.
And then there's another room with a kitchen and
back
everything
on a lower level down.
And they put a bunch of tables and chairs in there, and
so you've got plenty of space when the tables and chairs are pushed aside or pulled out to bring in your boar. They had this crazy cool contraption they were telling you about.
Yeah, they have a rail and a way to hang string them all up in the room, and you can leave them there, and it's cold, of course, because no one turns on the heater. But a really cool clubhouse. One thing that Ashley, this was kudos to Ashley. She's looking around. Well, you tell your own story.
I'm looking around and I'm like, where are the heads? It's like, why aren't there any boar heads on the wall? Like, this is like, there's cool old
tons of tools, tons of cool photo. Like you just walk or I've never been there.
Museum
yeah,
kind
it
of thing.
smelled like a museum on all the walls.
And they have this one boar that's not even a real stuffed boar. It was just
it was wooden.
It was exactly. And it was hilarious because before people came in, I saw a few of the old guys up on a chair trying to adjust it, make sure it was right in position. But so I look at one of the guys sitting next to us, and I was like, why no heads? Where are the heads? And they said, oh, they are expensive. So I don't know if this is the going rate, but
he said they started at 1,000 euros and up. Is taxidermy that expensive?
I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. Is that
just more of a thing in the States too? I don't know, and it's cheaper there. I don't know, but there is a guy. If anyone's interested, he's in Cali. But it was just interesting, and it's always so cool to see. And I put up a little video on Instagram and YouTube, a little short, but of watching Italians make pasta for a big group.
We've talked about this before. Whether it's for 2 or 2,000, the pasta is always correctly cooked.
So the tasting for al dente was a big thing.
Of course it
There's
is.
6 different guys over there trying. No, not yet. Yes, pull it now.
Well, because you have to anticipate that it's going to take us 5 minutes to dress it, and the pasta is going to keep cooking. So
exactly.
It's got to come out kind of toothy, but not raw, and definitely not overcooked. No.
And then there was 3 or 4 more hands ready to help with putting sauce on and the cheese, and then with their forks kind of tossing, shimmy shaking, finger forking it through.
And notice there was sauce in the bottom of the pan before they put on the pasta,
there was one
and then they dress it like a salad, a little bit at a time,
exactly.
Not dumping all the sauce.
No, they would start in one section and work their way across the pasta.
So it's actually, I watched that a couple times. It's good. It's a little 45-second short on dressing a giant amount of pasta.
Exactly. That was only half of it. And then, so we had the pasta, the tagliatelle with ragu, sausages, porchetta. Jason kept going, where the hell's the boar? And
Yeah, they didn't serve boar.
Well, they did for the kickoff. So maybe they wait and they put it.
Or it's like, do you serve a bunch of bread at the baker's convention?
Maybe. I don't know. But one of the guys who is one of the boar hunters who came and helped us with the slaughtering of our pig, he brought us over some extra boar too for making sausages.
Oh yeah, I have that in the freezer.
Uh-huh.
I have a cup of like 5 kilos to make. That's right.
More meat in the freezer, and we are not freezer meat people. Usually.
Well, you are now because you've got
your face.
No kidding, 2 freezers full of pig.
Oh my god! All right, stepping away from the pig. Jason ran into town the other day trying to be a good guy. We had a box of really nice Ravensburg puzzles.
Ravens! That's the clear click technology.
Well, when I had my foot surgery, I puzzled and because I couldn't really get around or do anything, so it was like, all right, let me get some cool puzzles. And
you've got the dog right behind you, just so you know.
Oh, thanks. So Jason went to take him to the old folks' home that just opened, and we might have mentioned this, but we had already had a conversation about the puzzles with Gaji and Rosanna.
They told us about this.
Yes,
that this wasn't going.
That this wasn't a thing, but we were like, what do they know? Who wouldn't like some nice puzzles?
Well, I thought, what do you do with them? They just built a brand new old folks home down in Piobico, right beyond the grocery store. So I thought, I'll just bring a whole box, like 15 of them, like really nice ones. So I go to I expected, this was like just part of my errands of the day. Are you sure we didn't talk about this?
Did we?
I thought we did.
I didn't have it written down.
Well, that means absolutely nothing.
From before, I mean, I have it written down on this list.
Sure we didn't talk about this? I feel like this is real deja vu-y. All right, well, you're going to hear it again. So this was just part of my errands. Like, I was throwing out the garbage and going to the hardware store. I'm wearing, like, I did kind of look – I was wearing, like, work overalls and boots and stuff. But I just was going to ring the bell. Hey, I have this box of – I just want to make a donation. Can I leave it in the corner there? I expected them to be like, oh, yeah, just drop it there. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. So I ring the bell to get let in. I go up to the front desk. I say, hey, I have these, games, puzzle. I just want to leave them here for, the residents. We don't need them. And she looks at me and goes,
suspicious.
She gave me kind of a side eye, like Malocchio. And she goes, all right, wait right here. I go, wait right here. No, just
a drop and go.
Yeah, I was expecting corner. Leave him there. I was like, where can I leave him? And she's like, wait right here. So the assistant director comes out, and I have to do the whole spiel again. My name is Jason, the Americana Kakamone. My wife last winter hurt her foot, and she was for the winter, and she did a bunch of these puzzles, and we. There's nothing wrong with them. I don't know what to do with them. We don't need them. We don't have children, blah, 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 blah. She starts going through the box and lifting each one up like it's like looking underneath looking at the box from the side, like looking at the picture, on the front, then turning it on its side, then kind of lowering her head and looking underneath and, really checking them out. And
Bomb squad.
Yeah. Are you trying to molest the residents with these boxes of puzzles?
What the hell would it be?
I have no idea. Anyway, I'm thinking to my head, this is going to be like a thing. Fine, I'll take my puzzles and I'll fuck off. All right. Luckily,
some guy
from working there. I don't know what he actually did there, but he was walking by and he recognized me. He goes, "Oh, Americano, Jason, blah blah blah," and everyone's demeanor melted. Like I was vouched for now, and now my puzzles weren't going to explode. I don't know. The puzzles still didn't really go over. It wasn't like, oh, these are going to be great. It was like, okay, just leave them. Like, at the end, it was like, okay, now you can leave them in the corner. But this was like a 15-minute
You told God you wrote out of the story. They were like, yeah, we told you. Like, it's not a thing.
It's not.
What are they supposed to do with them?
Like, what? I've never been to a hospital or an old folks home that doesn't have a puzzle on a table.
I know.
Is this just an American thing?
I don't know. I have no
Anyone?
idea.
Is this not a thing? We have people from other countries listening. Is this not a thing?
We're actually curious.
This is really curious to me. All right.
Speaking of Gaji and Rosanna, Gaji, a couple hilarious stories of them. He came by the other day and I showed him a picture that I had posted of him and the dog sitting by the fire, and he's reading the manual for the tractor, and the fire's going, and Leroy's laying right at his side, and it's just really sweet. And I made it into black and white. And I go to show him the picture, and he goes, "How'd you do that? How'd you make it black and white?" And I was like, wait, have you never heard of like a filter or something? It just cracked me up because I thought, he knows I took it on my phone. Does he think it's some special black and white phone?
I don't think he takes a lot of photos with it. He's not TikToking.
No, he is not. But it just kind of was a sweet but hilarious, like, how did you do that? But more,
you witchy woman.
Exactly.
God damn it.
And but the other night they came over for dinner, and they'd come over the night before just as a pop-in, and Rosanna entered first with a pocket full of treats for the dogs.
Just dried bread
stuff, whatever.
Which they did crumble on. Rosanna just Gaji makes bread crumbs. He like crunches it and at least she just throws like pieces
on the ground. So they go crazy for Rosanna. She gives them everything. Gaji comes in a couple of minutes later. He was zipping his fly when he walked in, so he too was peeing outside before he came in. And he goes, the dogs came over and so excited to see him, and he was like, "Where's the bread, Rosanna? Where's the bread?" And she goes, "There's none left. I gave him all away." And he goes, "Oh, God damn it. They expect this from me when I come in. I'm the one who gives them bread." And he's looking around angrily, and he goes, "Give me something, Ashley. Give me something to give him." And I don't remember what it was, but I was like, don't give them that. I go, "We have some actual dog treats. Here, give them these." And he thought they looked so stupid. And he looks at me and he goes, "What is this?" And I go, it's like little puffer dog treats. I don't know. And he just thought it was so stupid. He just kind of like flops it over to him, like just like drops his hand. Like,
well, it didn't stop him from feeding Maggie half a bowl of potato chips.
That was then the next night. So as they were leaving, they were arguing about who was going to give the dogs at dinner the next day the bread. Like little 10-year-old kids, as they're leaving the house, they're like, tomorrow, Gaji was saying, tomorrow, I get to give them the bread because they want it from me. They know me.
You know, it's more the Costanzas than it is Everybody Loves Raymond grandparents. Totally. Because the Everybody Loves Raymond grandparents were more like they were more...
The dad was a little more aloof.
Yeah, and he had more one-liners.
But the Costanzas...
They just screamed at each other.
Back and forth. Exactly.
Okay, so it's... I love having Gaji and Rosanna over for dinner because it's the same thing every time. It is the news, whether it's our house or their house, it doesn't matter. The news is on at extreme volume.
You need to be able to hear it at all times, but speak over it.
It's just really loud. We go from news to news to news, and it's always the same B-roll of the news, just a different presenter.
So they brought over. Wait, what were you going to say?
And Rosanna, even though she knows how to make whatever she's making by heart, and she's been making it for 50 years, she always checks with me to see how I would do it.
How would you do this?
You add the salt once the water boils.
Oh. So she brought a bunch of stuff over. So lately she's been loving to bring stuff over when we just do dinner here with the dogs because I think they love the dogs.
Also, it's freezing at their house the first night, so they want to come here.
Sit by the fire. Yeah. I know. And so the night since they had stopped by that night before, she said, "All right, I'll bring over cappelletti and we'll do a sauce with mushrooms and ham and whatever. Yeah. And you have parm." and blah, 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 and kind of going
And
over the list.
I go, you don't have to do that. I just killed a pig. I got sausages. I have pork
they
chops.
like to start cleaning out the freezer.
Now I have, I have this. And God, she poked up and go, "Whoa,
I want sausages.
I want sausage. Okay, great. Great. Bring over some pasta. I'll make the sausages. They show up the next night. The sausages are sitting there on the counter. The barbecue is lit, ready to go. And they go,
who's going to eat the sausages? What are the sausages for? I go, Gaji, I thought you wanted him. He looks at me like he's never heard of them and goes, what? This is plenty of pasta. And it was like, oh my God. But also then the cheese. So then Rosana goes, well, where's the parm? And you go, well, I have this H. Pecorino.
I have H. Pecorino.
She goes, well, last night you said you had parm.
And I go,
hilarious.
You know what? It is my fault because there's a huge difference between grated parm and grated pecorino. But in my head, she just asked if we had cheese.
Yeah.
Which is totally wrong. Now she's like, it's a lot of salt. Well, it's forte. It's going to.
I know. It's going to make it a little spicy.
A little too picante. I was like, you guys eat this cheese all the time.
I know.
I love it though. It's fun.
I do too. It cracks me up.
If they just came over and just sipped wine and had small talk, it would be extremely boring. Mm-hmm. This is much, much more fun.
And then as classic oldies from what feels like around the world, then after dinner, especially in the winter, they take a knife and eat fruit off the table.
Yes,
like
because you put out
apple, some like clementine, and they just love to. They have to peel it. They did not want a peeler.
No,
but they like to use the knife.
For some reason, both of them do not eat the apple skin. I love the apple skin.
Rosanna doesn't eat the skin of anything.
Anything. She will peel grapes. Mm-hmm. She wants her vongole shelled.
She goes to a specific restaurant because they shell her vongole for me. I never even asked them to, but they do it. We're like,
definitely asked them to.
I've been here when you asked them to. Does it come unshelled? Sense the shells.
I love him. Anyway, he's been around. He has not been around because there's nothing to do around here. They've been in Fano and they came back this week, midweek. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a weird
something. They're always very mysterious. Mm-hmm. They'll give you kind of a reason why they're deviating from their normal program, but not the whole story. Mm-hmm. It was whatever. Fine.
But it was fun. It made for good fodder for the podcast. That's for sure.
At the end, I'm always exhausted.
I know. It's true.
It's a lot.
It is true. It's like a whirlwind.
Well,
I know.
They get
dogs
the dogs
are
going.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
I know.
All right. This has been very enlightening.
It was. Well, thank you guys for listening.
That's all we had? That was our last thing?
I think so.
Oh, shit.
That was it. How long are we?
We are... That's what we normally do, between 45 and an hour.
There we go.
All right. Bring it home. Give them all the...
You know where to find us, latavolamarche.com, LATAVOLAMARCHE. And if you want to check out that video we were talking about of making the pasta for nearly 100 and how they perfectly dress it, you can find it on YouTube at La Tavola Marche, Instagram at La Tavola Marche, and you can always follow Leroy too at Leroy the Great Dane. By the way, guys,
shout out Leroy!
Shout out for Leroy! Jason lit up. There's still some space for a few of our summer workshops. Check out the website, and if not, we've got the truffle hunting workshop at the end of October, early November.
Anything going on looking forward to?
Nothing I'm looking forward to.
Oh.
Yeah, I had that potatore class. That was cool. The tree trimming.
Okay, nothing. That sounds boring. All right, thanks so much.